Tchelitchew's art is very accessible. It's kind of timeless. It's something that we can relate to now. It talks about the human condition. It talks about the dramas of love and friendship. We have a collection of works, all painted within about 6 years of each other, in the sort of golden decade for the artist in the 1930s, one of the best periods in his career. With Tchelitchew, there's a real transition in his work. It maps the changes in his personal life as well. In the late 20s, he was very close to Edith Sitwell. Then he met Charles Henry Ford, and this passionate sort of love affair really turned into what was a very enduring relationship. You can see at this time this change in his art and this explosion of colour, much brighter than the works that he did in the 1920s when he was living in France, very much influenced by Picasso in this circle of Gertrude Stein. He'd sort of moved on from that. Tchelitchew and his partner were great friends with Sotheby, and he took many photographs of them. They travelled together to Spain in 1934. The works that he painted in Spain, they're just a feast of colour. Some of these works are really among the most exciting in his oeuvre. He only actually painted 3 works on the subject of the bullfight. But at the same time, I think it meant something quite deep to him. He was an artist very interested in spectacle. I think that really appealed to him. If you look at the Théâtre Français painted in 1931, we have the sort of monochrome palette much typical of his works in the 1920s. For Tchelitchew, the theatre was one of the great loves of his life since he started painting costume and set designs when he was a student in Kiev. One of the pieces that I find particularly interesting is the Clown Resting, where he combined still life and the portrait. 2 of the more curious paintings are called The Bathers. They were painted during a trip to Italy in 1935. What we see here is his use of triple perspective. If you look at the way he's painted the towels, sort of play on light and shade and on the other side of life that's hidden. He's often sort of seen alongside the surrealists, but at the same time, I think his works are quite different. His work was just too earthy, had too much passion, too much physicality for the surrealists. Tchelitchew is an artist whose reputation is growing. He left Russia when he was a young man, so he really wasn't that well known there at all. Over the last sort of decade, he's been re-established in Russia, and he's incredibly popular among Russian collectors today.